We've been telling kids for 15 years to code. Learn to code, we said. Yeah, well, AI is coming for the coders. They're not coming for the welders. They're not coming for the plumbers. They're not coming for the steam fitters or the pipe fitters or the HVAC. They're not coming for the electricians.
Whoa, whoa, it's the Adam Finch Show. Turn it up loud, let the good times roll. Talking real life, wild and raw. Stories that'll leave you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Adam Finch Show. I'm, of course, your host, Adam Finch, and today we're going to talk about the skilled trades, getting into the skilled trades, and the severe lack of people we have getting into the skilled trades, and what that could mean for us going forward into the future. So, at the beginning of this, we saw a little clip. Mike Rowe there, obviously big supporter. He's done a bunch of big talks in the past, talking about how, we never pushed for the skilled trades. And there's all these kids who could have got into it, or maybe ended up getting into it, but they could have gotten into it a lot sooner. There was a great clip he talked about that I saw, and it was talking about how, when the kids were going from math class to English class, they didn't even have a chance to stop into an auto body shop and to smell the sawdust and smell the, what working is. And for me, I don't do I don't do any on-site work anymore now. For my job, I switched into project management type of work in our office, doing schedule tracking. But for almost 20 years, I was in the field, and there's those smells in the morning that you smell. Just getting up early, you get the dew, you've got the sights. I always take pictures and try to put them online. I get some of the best pictures of the sun rising above the skyline in the morning. And so I'm lucky that way because I'm still kind of in it and I still get to see it. But there's the smells of insulation and sawdust and paint and wood and all this stuff. It's just, for me, it brings back so many great memories. Now let's talk about the shortage that's happening. Obviously, everybody has been talking about this for years. I can remember I was in high school, around the time, or getting into high school, middle school there, around the time that the year 2000 was happening, and there was this big boom, obviously, into just computers back then. And I was lucky. I was so lucky that my parents, we had a Windows 95 computer. I had lots of different games that I could play on it, and so I had all that experience. We had the internet super early. I think I was in grade 5 or 6 when we got the internet. But I was lucky though because our middle school had a full functioning wood shop. Which is actually pretty crazy to think that 11, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds using joiners and belt sanders and table saws and scroll saws and all that stuff. We were so lucky, though. I had a teacher. His name was Mr. Wolf. He was the shop teacher there. And I loved just creating. I always kind of felt like I was a creative kid, but I wasn't really good necessarily for drawing and painting. I had a friend who was really good. I tried to copy the stuff that he did, but it just came so naturally to him. But that didn't. But when it came to building stuff or thinking about what you could build, house design, I loved doing that stuff. So grade 7 and 8, we had wood shop. We also got home ec as well. So we got to learn how to sew, hand sew, machine sew, and then cooking as well. And as 11, 12, 13-year-olds in grade 7 and 8, and then we also even had we had art class as well. We had music class with instruments in grade 7. I learned how to play the clarinet. I had friends play. We were playing all different instruments. We got to go to Canada's Wonderland and perform there. We'd go around to different schools and perform. And obviously, that was kind of, we were so lucky because that's how our school was set up and it was funded properly. But a lot of schools don't even get to even come close to touching that stuff because they don't even have the equipment and they couldn't even afford it if you wanted to. Even then, we also had really good athletics as well. Our gym, we had a big double gym plus a stage, some of the best equipment. We had wrestling mats and all that stuff. So we had wrestling tournaments at school and basketball, gymnastics. We had some of the best gymnastics equipment out there as well. So we were so lucky, and I was so lucky because that's how I grew up through middle school. Now my kids are in middle school, and they don't have any of that. They use the wood shop room for science. and don't get to do all that little stuff that we did. And obviously, it was great. I can't believe, though, to think that teacher had 20 plus kids running around, have people not paying attention. He was on it, though. He was always on it. I remember one time I went to go put something to the bandsaw. I was like, "Hey, guard down now!" Oh shoot! And he could hit. He had automatic stop buttons throughout the class, so you could shut down everyone's power. Make sure that you didn't chop your finger off. So I was lucky that way. Then getting into high school, one thing that I didn't like about high school is we were limited on what classes I could take when I was in high school. We were limited on what classes we could take because there were so many requirements for the classes we had to take. So like I couldn't do woodshop in grade 10 because I had other credits I was forced to get. So I kind of did like an intro to tech in grade 9, but then I couldn't do woodshop in grade 10 anyways. I ended up doing it in grade 11. My son now, he's 16 going into grade 11. They took away a lot of those limitations. So next year he's taking woodshop, auto. They have a welding, I think they have a machining, and I think one other course he's taking, maybe just regular construction tech maybe, but just all these great things. So as a kid who doesn't quite know what he wants to do, but he knows, he doesn't like math and he doesn't necessarily like doing, papers, and I don't think he's ever going to be a doctor or a lawyer, being able to get that hands-on experience at that age, what a great opportunity for him, and fortunately his high school has all those different shops. So yeah, he's able to, and some do, some don't. When I was in grade 12, we had a home build co-op. So I wanted to do co-op, and I wanted to start my OYAP. I decided I wanted to learn how to get into the trades. I think just around that time, like Homes on Homes was just coming out on TV. But I used to spend my Saturday mornings in the summer. My parents had a trailer up at Sauble Beach here in southern Ontario. Now it's called Saugeen Beach, but the TV they got TLC back then. And TLC back then actually had Bob Vila and Home Time and Furniture Guys. So all these, This Old House. I was watching all that stuff when I was like 11, 12 years old. Like I said, I had the wood shop at school. I was finding this stuff on TV. And I just loved it. And I knew that that's why I wanted to do something like that. So I geared, even though I had really good marks and I joke about it. I should have been a doctor or a lawyer. I used to joke about that when I was in construction, and you're out in the sleet and the rain and the snow and digging tarps. But thinking back now, like those are some of the funnest times, and I can still reminisce with some of the guys I work with. Remember that 10 years ago we were on that roof all winter long. It was freezing, and all the snow dumps we had. So for me, it's awesome that we can share those memories, and I got to work with, I still get to work with such amazing people, which is why I keep working for the company that I work for, Malua Blamey Construction out of Waterloo. If you guys are looking to plan a project, do a project, build a project, any size, reach out to me. We have some of the best carpenters. That's not even a joke. That's not even just a marketing ploy. We have some of the best carpenters, just the stuff I've seen these guys do over the years. Absolutely amazing. Best project manager. And this is the whole thing, right? We talk about systems and all that stuff. So talking about systems, huge shortage of skilled trades right now. I'm going to flip up a quick slide here just so you guys can see. Okay, so here we have, this is just something that Mike Holmes put out as a summary for a podcast that he just put out. But we can see, is there really a shortage of skilled trades? So some of this, obviously this is a little bit old, it's back from 2021, but obviously data takes forever. So more than 245,000 construction workers are expected to retire by 2032. I forget the exact number, but it's like for every one that retire, or for every 7 that retire, we're only replacing it with like 1 or 2. And even then, those guys are not getting the experience and the training because they don't have the time to get all that. So even though we lead with the most educated workers, the problem is the number of workers are aging. And this is you're going to see right here with this. So 15 to 24-year-olds getting into skilled trades, almost half of what the next generation is. So as you can see, the 65-year-olds are retiring. The 55s we're just replacing the 55s, but these guys coming in will not replace what's there already. So if we don't do something fast and get this spiked up, there's also something they said in Canada, if we need an extra 100,000 skilled workers just to try and meet these crazy demands that the government of Canada is saying that we're going to build for all the million houses a year. Not going to happen because we don't have the workers. Now, there are multiple ways that we can get those workers, but it takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of time. So people reach out constantly to me, international students, international workers, people just dying to get into the skilled trades, and no one will give them the opportunity to do it. Now, I think back, I did a little bit of house framing just for a couple days. I did house framing, like I said, for the house building co-op in high school. We framed a house, teacher, 13 kids, framed the whole house, right from the foundation was done for us, framed it up. We had guys come in and help us frame the roof, because obviously the roof's a little bit trickier, and they weren't trusses with that. It was stick framed. And then after that, we got to go around the subdivision and help out other workers. So I framed a couple houses with a framing crew. I went and worked a couple days with the plumber down the street. But high school ended, and there was just like no real support afterwards to say, hey, if you guys like this, hey, if you guys want to, continue on, this is the path to take. We're just kind of left there. Anyways, I wasn't really ready to work full time at 17 years old. So I took a year off, just chilled, did a lot of biking, hit the gym a bunch, and went to school the following year for architectural construction engineering technology at Conestoga College here locally. And I remember at first I was kind of, after like the first semester, because we were doing a little bit of design stuff. And for me, some of the stuff doing presentation drawings and working drawings and all this AutoCAD stuff, it was okay. It's cool to learn, but that wasn't really what I wanted to learn. Anyways, the program got better, and I learned to like it, and I'm glad I finished it. But even coming out of college, I didn't really know much. I had only done a little bit of renovation work, a little bit of construction work, and then whatever I'm learning off of TV. We didn't even have YouTube wasn't even a thing back then. So if you weren't watching it on HGTV or TLC, you saw a lot of trading places where people would do their neighbors' houses. Watching a lot of that stuff just to try and get my head wrapped around that. And like I said, that was when Michael Holmes was just coming out, and I remember watching this video clip. And I told Mike Holmes this. I met him at a real estate event a while ago. Twice now I've talked to him, but I talked about how 20 years ago I saw you on TV, and you said, hey, I can't do this myself. We need. He was calling for it back then, 20 plus years ago. We need hardworking, dedicated people who are going to provide quality work for people. And that's just something that I like to do. Everything that I ever do, I try to make sure that it's the best possible. To truly, call myself, you want to be a true pro. I love preaching about that. To be a pro, always taking a positive approach to everything, putting in the work, and making sure that you're always producing the best results possible. And if you can't, find someone else who can help you, because we don't want to do a haphazard job for people. But I was lucky because I'm coming out of school with no real experience. Yes, I had my college background, but I went and applied at a bunch of different general contractors. I was so fortunate. Malul Blamey Construction called me up, and they're perfect, good forward thinking and all that stuff. Grand Valley Construction Association we have here locally as well. Lots of promotion. There's different Merit Open Shop Contractors Association as well. They're pushing for the trades. Even your unions as well. If you guys want to get into the unions, they're also pushing for it as well. But so I was given those opportunities. I didn't know what was going on. Now, like I said, I get reached out by people, international students, all these people constantly looking for jobs, and nobody wants to give them the opportunity. And there's different programs I know just for helping mentor people. But one issue I saw, I did some project management courses here locally at Conestoga College a couple years ago. And 90% of the people in the class were international students. And highly qualified in their fields. We're talking architects and engineers and project managers and coordinators from all over the world, Iraq or Iran and Brazil, Venezuela, all these different crazy countries from around the world, all this knowledge, but so many of them have a hard time finding a job. Obviously, a little bit of a language barrier, and then the big thing is that we bring all these people to this country and don't just teach them the basics of Canadian construction techniques before we start. Now, hey, me coming right out of college, it's like a 21-year-old. I didn't necessarily know Canadian construction techniques either, aside from watching, a couple people frame some houses on, Brian Baumler and Scott McGillivray renovating basements and houses, and, a couple different shows watching people frame houses. I didn't really know those construction techniques. I was eager to learn. These people are eager to learn. People are just looking for an opportunity, and there's so many out there that aren't being given it. So one thing I can say, if you guys have the ability to, please reach out, respond to these people. If people are asking you for help, I get so many people that message, I'll message back and say, unfortunately, I don't have anything, but I heard this guy's hiring, this guy might be hiring. I just repost. I try to repost job postings for that very reason. Just please try and give them the opportunity. Just think back, if you were in that position, how would you like to be treated? Even if it's, unfortunately, we're not hiring right now, but hey, let me know, what are your skills? Maybe we can use you in the future. If you can do any sort of job shadowing, some of these people are just offering, can I just come job shadow you for the day? Can I just walk around with you? Can I just see what's going on? Because these people just want the opportunity to make a living and prosper in this country like like I get to do. So if I can just put that out there, that's the pro mindset too, right? Helping each other. Great quote that I love to bring up. And I've got it as my banner on my Facebook, and it says, I won't rest until 1 billion people breathe easier because of me. So, it's just one person at a time. If everybody in this world took, a minute of their day to just help one person in this world, just that little bit, respond to that message, give that encouragement, help somebody out, we'd be a lot happier. We'd have a lot more done, and we'd all be benefiting from that. And hey, 245,000 people retiring in the next 5 years, 7 years. Where do we replace that? We, as Canadians, are not having enough babies. And we have always been, we were talking with my son recently about that, about the different ebbs and flows and different people. When we were his age, there was a lot of different people from the Asian countries coming over. We had a lot of Muslims coming over as well. That was actually pretty cool. We were so lucky in our elementary school that our teachers took the time when we had these big influx of all these different nationalities coming in. Our Christmas concert that year, holiday concert that year, was all about the different religions from around the world. So our class did Judaism, and we talked about Hanukkah. We sang the Hanukkah. There's a Hanukkah song, not the Hanukkah song you're probably thinking about, but there's a song about Hanukkah. There's a dance to it, and we studied this. We studied all the different world religions at Christmas time, and all that they studied, just to get appreciation and the hardships that some people have had over the years. So for me, that's what we grew up with, and hey, we're all Canadians here. We're all a mix of everything. North Americans, South Americans as well. Worldwide, people are everything all over. We just gotta help each other out, give each other the opportunity, and if somebody shows interest, why would you not want to just help them along the way? Say, hey, listen, we're not hiring right now. What are you trained in? I like to give people, hey, you know what? I tell people, start documenting the travels that you're on and the journey and your struggle. Maybe you're gonna have a hard time finding a construction job, but hey, that can go another way. There is a way to monetize that temporarily. And who knows? You never know who's going to see that video and go, wow, that guy is really giving it. He looks like he would be dedicated. And you never know when someone might be looking for that exact person and hire them. And I would definitely do that if I had the opportunity. And I saw people putting in the work. But I'll tell you, if you're looking for a job, anyone who's looking for a job, start a conversation with people. There's the adage, if someone wants to invest in you or invest in your business, buy your training course, you want to make sure that they know you, like you, and trust you. If you just say, hey, I'm looking for a job, here's my resume, please hire me, That is not the way. And I understand you're looking for a job, you're desperate and all this stuff, but a simple, hey, how's it going? How's life treating you? Can you tell me more about what you do? You sound very interesting on what you do, and I get those a lot, which is great. And I tell people what's going on. And instead of just saying, hey, you could just, after you strike up a conversation, ask how they're going, how their day is. Thanks for following me, and thanks for reaching out to me and talking to me. Then you say, hey, if you know of any opportunities, let me know. I'm always looking. But don't just be so direct. And I get it. I mean, I see those things, and I always respond. Like I said, I always respond to those people because, I was given those opportunities in the past at what I did. So, hey, what are we going to do to fix this problem? I don't know. But there's people coming to this country every day that we may be able to utilize. There are so many people lost and floundering right now and don't know what to do with their lives. And I say this, if you don't know what to do right now with your career, with your future, you don't know what you might be good at, pick a trade and just do it. And worst case, you don't like it, you go get another job. But the starting wage is higher. There's no debt in most cases to go to school. Your employer in most cases pays for it, and even if it's a minuscule price. There's different grants out there. There's different people offering scholarships and mentorships and all this stuff. So there's lots of different opportunities out there. But once you learn a skill, nobody can take that skill away from you. If you learn how to solder copper pipes together, if you learn how to pro press, and you understand proper slopes and calculating, and figuring out the code book on your plumbings and drains, and how to hook up a sink and how to hook up a toilet, those are skills. No one can take that away from you. You learn how to wire up a receptacle. Okay, so you're not going to become an electrician, but when you buy a house, you can change out that light switch. If your parents need help, if a friend needs help, if someone needs help, maybe you're volunteering somewhere and a light switch goes out, you can go fix that. You understand how to flip a breaker. You learn how to do some trim. You learn how to do some flooring. You learn some painting techniques. And I would always ask the guys on site, like, hey, what are you doing there? Oh yeah, okay. So you guys show me a pro press machine. I'm asking questions about soldering, why they're doing things certain ways, and just seeing the techniques that they are. And then I also then just follow people on social media as well and get friendships that way. But then I can see what they're up to, and if I might be interested in that trade. And I kind of wish when I was younger that I did jump and learn another trade as well. But I was just so enthralled with the world of large construction and improving and learning the skills and all the different layers that I did for there. So I always joke that maybe a retirement job, I'll learn to be a plumber just for fun, just so I can learn it. But I told my kids too, hey, who wants to be the plumber, who wants to be the electrician, and who wants to be the heavy equipment operator. So maybe then my kids will pick up a different trade there. And then we can have our own construction company and do everything ourselves. So so that's really what I want to talk about today, and talk about that, the shortage of skilled trades. And AI, like Mike Rowe said at the beginning, AI can't replace you right now. Like, that's the number one thing it can't replace. And we were just talking about work about that, how we can get AI to, right now, doing what I do, scheduling, project management type of stuff. I could get AI tomorrow to replace up to 90%. Now, it's not going to be 100% on that. It still needs a bunch of, but there are ways, and I'm working on that too. And why would I, as someone who, works in that type of environment, want to replace myself? Because why not? Right now, we're in a tough position with, shortage of work in some different areas. People aren't building as fast as they used to, even though we need to. We don't have the skilled trades. We all need to be more efficient. And how can we be more efficient than leveraging technologies and automation to take over those menial tasks? And if all of a sudden a project manager look after 2-3 projects, and he can look after a fourth one because he's now automated a bunch of his tasks, then all of a sudden, like that's whatever. Let's say a project manager's making 150,000 a year, so he's getting paid 50 grand technically per project. Well, now because we've automated and removed some of that menial tasks, he's now taking 4. So now we're only what are we doing, like 35,000 per project now. That's $15,000 savings right there per project. Times. You do 100 projects in a year. And what did you just save? $1 million for operational expenses. And that's truly where AI is going to help us. And so we need to be at the forefront of it, us as contractors, if we want to make sure that we are winning. We have to keep going. And I've been working on that, like just trying to figure out and constantly, right? You talk about the wins and the losses, and it's something fails. I try something, it doesn't work. Try something else, it doesn't work. Try something, and then that one worked. Okay, cool. Now let's take that, let's leverage it, and where can we put that information now, and how can we expand upon this? And just me driving and spitballing enough. If everyone has ChatGPT and you buy the premium, you can sit there and talk back and forth with it. So I was just doing that for like 15 minutes, trying to get a bunch of information out of it. And then I got home and then dictated a big long speech to it saying, hey, I want to automate this process. I want to create something to help me calculate my durations and my timelines and all that. And it said, this is exactly how you can create a custom GPT. And then it even said, hey, if you want to monetize this as well, this is how you can create your own app with it and all that stuff. So just right there, it took a lot of practice, but then once you kind of hone in on how to properly utilize this tool and what it could be used for, then you can start spitballing ideas and really putting it into practice. And like I've got a winning formula to help us out. What used to took me hours sometimes, I can get down to minutes. And the stuff that used to take me days, I can get down into multiples of hours instead of multiples of days. And that's just simple. I mean, and we talk about systems. It's all about the systems I put in place. It's all about, we're talking 3 years of hard work of me taking the knowledge I have in the field and seeing the doom and gloom that's coming and thinking, how can we become more efficient? How can we leverage what we have right now to improve and become more efficient, more lean, right? We talk about, that's one of the most important things is being lean and no waste and automating those processes and having the answers at your fingertips. That's so important. So, like you think about, I was just talking to a guy at work, we were joking about this, but it's like, back in the 1900s, everybody worked on a farm digging ditches and planting. And then a tractor came along. And then you've got all these different harvesting machines and machines that can cut your hay and bale it. And all of a sudden, all those people didn't have to work on the farm anymore. Now, we're at a part where, yes, we needed all those people to do all those jobs. Now we're in that switch. So, yeah, maybe we don't need as many like accountants and lawyers and copywriters. Where do those people, how can we transfer some of those skills over? And there are so many different options that you can. Like if you're doing accounting and all that, hey, guess what? We still need accountants in construction. If you've got an analytical mind, we've got surveying and construction, and there still needs to be a human element to all this stuff, even when stuff becomes more automated. Someone has to double check the texture, and our touch sensors are so important in the world of construction and building, just feeling how smooth things are, because everyone else is going to touch that as well. So if you got a rough surface, just understanding the smoothness of walls and finishes. It will be a while, I think, before that technology can truly get there. And even then, when it does, guess what? Then we're going to shift again. And as all this technology comes out, we still need some computer engineers. We still need electricians. That was a big thing, like the shortage of electricians. We need a huge amount of electricians. We're still going to need mechanics to work on all these robots. We're going to need robotic technicians and experts in robotics. So there is so much that we need and so many different transferable skills and options that are out there for people. So don't just be so narrow-minded, and think about possibly getting into skilled trades. Like I said, even if you're not. And I knew a doctor once, and he spent all of his summers painting at university, college pro painters. And he said he still loves painting to this day because of what he did back then. Same thing with me. Like, I am grateful at the opportunity that I have at work right now, and that I am not out there slugging, in this hot weather and everything. But I still like to go out there. I still, we've got a rental property that we're just finishing up. I got work around the house here. I still love getting my hands dirty and using those skills and perfecting and learning new skills. And I was learning how to do parging and caulking and all this stuff, kind of stuff that I wasn't so good at before, but I've practiced and got pretty good at my rental property, fixing that stuff. So that's kind of where we are right now in the world of construction and renovations and skilled trades. AI is coming, and it's going to be an amazing tool for all of us. And yes, people are going to be replaced. But if you've got that pro mindset, if you've got the mindset of continually learning and figuring out where your new niche is going to be in this ever-changing world, you're going to succeed. I know it because that's me right now. I'm constantly evolving and working hard and trying to figure out where best I can use my skills and how I can improve upon the world for everybody, like I touched on before, and improve on the world for myself and my family as well. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you follow me on all social medias, The Adam Finch. And like I said, I'm posting all over the place, and just leave it with this one last thought, and that is, whatever you do, do it like a pro and be a pro.
Whoa, whoa, it's the Adam Finch Show. Turn it up loud, let the good times roll. Talking real life, wild and raw. Stories that'll leave you dropping your jaw. Big dreams, bigger plans.